Right. I wanted to catch up with coaches, like I said before. I've had a chat from the guys from Washington College, and I wanted to speak with this man, Coach Friday.
Welcome back. Great to see you again, Paul.
No, thanks for coming. Thanks for inviting me. No, I wanted to chat with you because when I first came to camp, you intimidated me like crazy because of who you were, where you've coached. And I was quite new to the game, and it was a bit of a scary experience. And I got to know you, and you're an absolutely amazing guy, a great coach, and you did one thing which made me go, wow, I love it here, is you invited everyone up to this room. We did a little coaching clinic with like a table for the guys. I don't know if you remember, it was last year we did that. And I thought, that's great. I don't see that very often with coaches. Normally people are quite shy and quite possessive of what they know.
Right.
So it was quite nice. Is that something that happens a lot here?
Well, I think, first off, I think that we as coaches, whether we're in Division 1, 2, or 3, or the high school or club teams, at the end of it all, we're decent people.
Yeah.
We're fathers, we're husbands, we're sons, we're people in the community.
Yeah.
We're no better than anybody, no matter what level you are, because I think the respect that in the college level, we get these young men at a little bit further stages of their career, Paul.
Yeah.
So the fundamentals and the things, those skills and those qualities, a lot of that stuff's been instilled in them.
Okay.
At the younger ages, when you're working with kids in 3rd grade or the 5th grade or the middle school level, where you're really introducing them to those concepts and you're teaching them the building blocks of their game.
So is that like 10 years old, 11 years old?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It requires a lot of patience, and it requires a lot of, I think, motivation and keeping those kids involved, because they want to see the big picture. They want to play.
Yeah.
But you can't learn to run until you can learn to jog, and you can't jog until you learn to walk.
Yeah.
Before you walk, you can crawl. So, I think the biggest thing I learned is, and my family taught me this, whether it's the CEO in the room or it's the last person in the company or the person with least experience.
Yeah.
If it's the richest man in the room or it's the poorest man in the room, or a woman, you treat them all the same. And
no, I like that. It was great, like, because you will have coaches come over to the UK and they'll do some clinics and things like that, and people could pay a lot of money to go and talk to someone, talk about basketball.
Right.
And the fact that we all just walked around and said, hey, do you want to come and talk about basketball?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
it was great. It was
right. And to answer that second part of your question, I've been coaching since 1990, and I'm not going to say that I ever thought I knew it all.
Yeah.
But I think as we go into things and we get into a routine in life, in our home life, in our business life, or in our sports life, whatever it is, relationships, you do get into a routine and you get into habits.
Yeah.
You want them to be more better habits than poor habits. But as I've gotten to this stage in my career, I want to learn. And, I want to learn from you. I want to learn from people like Will Cabrera. I want to learn from other people in my league. If you ever look at your team at times and you really want to be true with yourself, have somebody scout you that's really a good friend, or have somebody come into your practice and not tell you all the time what you want to hear, or just a lot of patting on the back, but to go in and look at it critical and what can you do better. I think when you're a younger coach, we tend to want to show people how much we know and if we're the smartest guy in the room. And when you do that, or you do that with your team, you talk too much. Well, this game, I think the really, really great coaches at this level, they have really good players who they develop.
Yeah.
But they know when to stop it and when to teach it and when to really break it down.
Yeah.
But they also let their kids play. And they, a lot of people, they're going to get better by doing. You don't get stronger in a weight room by standing there and watching. You got to go in there and you got to do the exercises and work. Yeah. You don't get better as a basketball player or as a football player or as a whatever it may be, right? You need to get those real-time practical repetitions.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. That's why I like talking to you. You just got the way you say stuff is great. I like it. I think it's a way to learn how to talk to people, how to communicate with the teams. I think it's important.
Right.
And you do that really well.
And when I think, Paul, what you've done, and for your friends at home that are watching this, because obviously, listen, in America, right, basketball is a really big sport. As Americans here, we were just introduced to the World Cup, and I know that England, right, had a great run,
did okay,
right, to the Final Four. Well, what you're doing is you're trying to grow your sport in your country, and to come across the Atlantic Ocean and to take time off from work and to bring young men over here to experience this. You know, in the short term, you're providing them with a great experience, but I think in the long run, because of a simple basketball and because of a basketball camp here in the United States that you're at, those kids a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 25 years from now, the experiences they had here, they will not remember the games, and they may not remember coaches' names, but they'll remember the experience and the way they felt and the people they met, and the time away from home bonding. That's what is the most beautiful, elegant thing of sports.
I think so. Yeah, completely agree. I want to touch base on where you've coached.
Sure.
Because again, it's like this comparison that obviously we're big in football, soccer, whatever you want to call it.
You sure?
And we turn on the TV and we watch college basketball 1 a.m. and we see St. Francis on TV, we see Duke on TV, and we pay money to watch people like you coach.
Right.
I think that's amazing. And I come here and you're all just walking around, like just talking to everyone, and it's just like a little bit surreal to begin with. And then, like you've said before, everyone's just a person, and you get used to it, and it's amazing. So, how was your time there at St. Francis? Was it tough? Was it stressful?
I think number one, I was granted an incredible opportunity to coach in the Division I level. Now, I'm not happy, and I'm not content with the way it ended, and I'm not content with we didn't reach the successes we wanted to. And there's a couple ways that, listen, the experiences I had, the young men that I met, and I had some kids that I was fortunate to coach there that were from different parts of the world. Mislav Jukic, who remains one of my closest friends, is from Zagreb, Croatia. He's now living here. He's working with Hershey Chocolate here in the United States. We helped him get a job. Cedric Latimer from Finland. I look back at the kids like Serena Arandi, who we had in our program from Sweden. Hey, those relationships, you know, will never go away, and that has nothing to do with wins and losses. But when you look at the tactical things we could have did, hey, could we have done things better? Could I have done things better? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, our premise was going in there to try to help young people get a college education, grow, to become successful husbands and business leaders and fathers. But at the same time, we're all competitive, and that's why we're here. And you know, that's why you're here at camp, and that's why I'm here at camp, because we're trying, you know, I'm here also working, I'm recruiting, and I'm trying to find the next wave of Penn State Nittany Lions who want to get a college diploma and who want to be part of something bigger than themselves with the team. You're here because you're trying to grow a sport, and you're trying to give young men an experience, and you know, we're always trying to get better. But everything that I took from that thing at St. Francis of Pennsylvania, it's made me a better coach. I've become more efficient. I've looked at things differently. My experiences have been greater. I think I'm a better coach now than I was when I was there 5 years ago.
Okay, so now I'm with Penn State.
Like,
and you're here recruiting and everything like that. What do you look for? What are you looking for in general? When you just look out on that court, and you see all these kids playing, 700, 800 kids here.
Right.
How do you define one?
Listen, I think the biggest thing is if you try to be everything to everybody here, and you're trying to look at everybody, it gets overwhelming, and then you become good at nothing. Like, you have no sound evaluations on your guys. What we're trying to look at is we're trying to look at guys in a area in the Mid-Atlantic. Now, we're being at the point where I'm at in my program in our current situation, we're being a little more selective now. We know that we're looking for some frontline players, and we're looking for skilled perimeter players on the longer side, on the perimeter. So, you know, a 5'10" guard now or a 6'1" off guard, we don't necessarily put a lot of time into that. We'll put him on we call our B list, just to keep those guys alive. But we want to come out of here with our primary list of maybe, and this is crazy, we may come out of here with 400 names out of the summertime, maybe 80 names here. But what's going to happen is, right, you're in the dairy industry, and we know this, right? You put raw milk into a centrifuge, the cream comes to the top and the raw milk goes out the bottom. We're looking to bring the cream to the top. What's that cream? What's our cream?
Yeah.
Our cream is interest, it's academics,
Yeah.
it's ability, it's the ability to pay, it's the desire to go to school in that part of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So those 400 kids, by the time we get into March,
Yeah.
those 400 names, hey, 100 of those names, they're gonna be too good.
Okay.
100 of those names, they're not gonna be good enough. 75 of those names aren't gonna have the academics that we need.
Right.
40 of those kids are gonna say, I don't wanna go that far from home. So we're gonna be left with a list now of about 40 kids working a working list that we'll try to really manicure and go after as it goes along.
No, that's yeah, I like that. That's a good analogy. So how would you judge your success then? Would it be by the position where your team comes? Would it be where your players go to?
I think it's a combination. Now, what keeps my job security? It's where my team finishes.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're in the industry of victories. So if you don't win, you get 4 years, 5 years, and you're going to get bounced.
All right, okay.
But when you look at it on the long run, I think as you have a longevity in this, when you look at the kind of people you've worked with,
Yeah.
the successes, I think that's the number one judge, and that's what you see in the sports page. But when you also look behind the scenes, the graduation rate, how those guys behaved on campus, the giving back to your university after they leave, and then I'm at that point where I've coached guys now that have gone on to get married, they have kids, and it's kind of neat to be part of that thing. And every coaching career where you're at, you have that very beginning where you're trying to maybe, again, you want to do everything.
Right. Okay.
But as you go along, you start to see there's a bigger picture to it. I'll tell you one of my biggest faults when I went to St. Francis of Pennsylvania. I was a Division III guy. I worked for a really good guy at Bucknell University, a guy named Pat Flannery, and Bucknell in 05 and 06, as a mid-major program, they upset Kansas. They beat Arkansas in the NCAA tournament and really put them on the map. And I was so used to always doing things. Well, now when I got my own program at St. Francis, I had a staff of 4 guys. One of my biggest faults, I didn't delegate. I try to do it all. And when you're doing that, number one is you're alienating your assistants because they want to do something and they have to have some autonomy and grow and put their stamp on it. Yeah. And at the other end, you're burning the candle so thin that you're spread too thin. You're not really doing anything maybe as well as you can. So, and with that, it's a two-way street though. Because as a college coach, when I'm going to interview a guy to come on my program, hey, I need you to be a good teacher. I need you to be motivated. I need you to be a self-starter. Those are all necessities, right? But loyalty and trust, that's more important. So, with that, when you're delegating, you got to make sure you're delegating the guys you trust and that they're going to do it the way you want it all the time, every time when you're not there. And that, for me, that was one of my biggest faults. So when I see these younger guys now too, getting some positions and where they're in a position of leadership, I try to say, hey, listen, if one way, I'm not telling you what to do, but one thing you may want to think about, you got to delegate. Because if not, you're going to drive yourself nuts. And the other bit of advice, and I stole this, in coaching, we're plagiarizers. We beg, borrow, and steal. Yeah. But I heard Bob Huggins say this one day, the coach at West Virginia. Yeah. When you're a head coach, you gotta recruit like you're an assistant coach. You gotta get on the road because at the end of the day, right? Like a chef, he knows what his dish is gonna taste like. He understands his taste and his palate and what he wants to serve. As the head coach, you know the kind of guys you want to coach and how you're gonna kind of fit them into your scheme of things. You gotta be out there and you gotta recruit.
On that then, with a typical question, what's the biggest names that you've coached that have come through the system for you?
Like in terms of like names of people that I've coached?
Yeah.
I think one of them, certainly with your people in England that are watching this, J.R. Holden, John Robert Holden, who I worked with at Bucknell. J.R. ended up his career and did very well playing for CSKA in Moscow and I believe he won some Euro titles there. Right. Okay. But, he was a guy that started off, he spent a year in Latvia, he spent 2 years in Belgium, he spent 1 year in Greece, and then when he got to CSKA Moscow, he really found his niche, and it ended up in JR becoming a member of the Russian Olympic team. As a United States citizen. Charles Lee's another guy. Charles is now an assistant in the NBA with the Milwaukee Bucks. Just spent the last 2 weeks, I was told by our head coach, went over with the Greek freak back home to Greece to spend some time working out with him. JR now is, he's in between jobs. He was recently with the Pistons. So, we've had a lot of guys go to Europe, but we've had guys that are in engineers, stockbrokers, doctors, so it's, hey, if you're going to say to me, how many guys have you gotten in the NBA? None. But we've put a lot of guys out there with MBAs and, CPAs and everything else in between.
Okay. No, thank you very much. Honestly, it's been absolutely brilliant. I love working with you. I love the way you coach. It's just, it works. I like watching it. Well, I enjoy it. Is there anything you could say to any of the kids who want to come out here to maybe like the Hoop Group Camp, or any coaches that want to come to Hoop Group Camp? Is it worth the money? Is it worth the time? Are they going to get something from it? And how should they approach it?
Well, I think the biggest thing that you see, and I think if you talk to a lot of college coaches today, because of social media, because of technology, and because of the whole way now of communication across the globe, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis now, we get a lot of requests from international students. So I think the biggest thing is if you have an aptitude that you think you want to study in the United States, you want to play basketball, there's a level out there for everybody. Most Division I and Division II schools can provide scholarship money for players that have the ability to play at this level, okay? A lot of your Division III schools where I'm at don't necessarily offer athletic money, but they do offer academic money at times. And there are some very good Division III schools that target international kids, or kids from England. I think it, like anything else, if I'm thinking if I want to play soccer, and soccer is very important to me, right? I'm probably going to travel to England, or I'm going to go to Italy, or I'm going to go to Brazil to go out and play there, because that's where the best of the best is. And I think here in the United States, we have the best of the best. So I think getting a United States education and then having that opportunity to play intercollegiate athletics in the United States, it's a life-changing experience. So for any young man that would want to do that, I think it's great. For coaches that want to come over, I think, again, what's really cool, camps are great to come to. But if people could ever work it out where you get the chance to see an awful lot, and I encourage my younger assistants to do this too. Go out and maybe take a week before you start practicing, or when you have some off days, and go watch some other college coaches practice. Watch how they interact with their student athletes. Watch their drills. Watch how they communicate. You're not going to go in there and just say, hey, I'm going to revamp everything I'm doing. But what you can say, sit there and say, hey, he teaches it this way. I teach it this way, but I find some common ground. I think I can do it a little bit better this way. Or it might also say, hey, I'm pretty confident in where we're going with this. I'm hearing other people say it. We're going to stay the course with it. So by going out there, again, I think it comes back to it. If you stay the same, you're not getting any better. And I think in this business, you're looking at how do you continue to improve? How do you become more efficient? How do you give your kids the best possible experience? So, what you're doing, you're taking this back, and I'm sure when you go back home, you're teaching some things that people say, hey, that's pretty neat. Well, again, none of us invented this. What we do is there's people before us giving us opportunity to learn. There's people at home that help send your kids over here. They had to work. They had to raise those funds. They're given that opportunity. So, it's paying it forward. It's at the same time, we do these round tables in here at night, just trying to share and help guys get better. Again, none of us invented it. But it does come down to, hey, how you bond your kids. And a lot of this is player-driven league, right? You can have the best X's and O's, the best playbook. If you don't have players that have a high level of degree of success on the court who can play together and for each other, everybody's playbook's the same.
All right. Look, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time.
Yay, thank you, and look forward to doing it again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.